Cabana's like, shut up.
Shut up. And we are almost there.
I think we're live.
All right.
Yep, we're live.
All right. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone, to the Hex Happy Hour Show. Have, as always, just an excellent lineup of panelists. As you can see, Crypto Vince in his normal slot. Big Kirk down there. How'd you get down there, Big Kirk? Motley.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing good.
I heard you were drinking already. Is that true?
That's the name of the game for the stream, right?
Yeah, I think so. And BitFinesse, first time on stream with
look
me.
at my hat.
Ooh,
I love it.
Nice. I love it.
That's killer.
So, definitely wanted to get BitFinesse on it. He commented on the last video and said he had an interest in being on the show. So welcome, man.
Thank you.
Totally happy to have you. And I know you've been running around trying hard to make this happen. So I'm glad that you got on stream with us and, a few of the normal crew as we've had for the past few weeks and months here. But I guess let's just not even beat around the bush and get into it. First topic, you pick one. Risk management, Hex Bay. What's on the mind of BitFinesse? Top of mind.
It's all the same thing, right? I mean, we're all here because we're great risk managers. Hexicans are the greatest risk managers in all of crypto, perhaps all of finance, right? We're here because we know that we can lock our money up, not have to worry about trading to earn a return. And we like that when our money is locked, if you want to unlock it, there's a hefty penalty. Depending on how early you lock it, a really hefty penalty. So HexBay is a project, from what I understand, that is using a smart contract to allow people to take the stakes that they already have locked, the hex they already have locked, take their stakes and sell it early.
Well, real quick correction. Not the stakes they have already locked. Those are
not on layer
legacy
one.
stakes. Yeah. Legacy stakes are not able to be sold. It will be stakes that are made future on the centralized HexBay contract.
Yeah, directly through their contract. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So you have to go to another layer.
Yep.
I don't know if we should call this layer 3 now. We already have layer 2 with Maddox, but let's call it another layer.
Yeah.
So with going to another layer, first of all, I remember when Kyle talked about when an audit is performed, there have to be parameters given to the auditors, right? You can't just say, hey, audit this for me. You have to tell them this is what it's supposed to do. This is what you need to look for. These are the parameters that you need to prove or disprove. That needs to be part of the audit. I haven't heard those parameters talked about. I like that Kyle talked about them. I think we all learned a lot listening to his talks about the development of the smart contract for Hex. But we don't have that for HexBay. So I've heard a lot of people talk about HexBay. I don't know everything about it. But there is one thing that I keep coming back to. And maybe I'm wrong. Because everybody says that this is going to result in more Hex being staked and less being on the market. I think, so let's take a scenario. I've got a 15-year stake, a Cuatro Cinco stake. 10 years goes by. I've got 5 years left before my stake becomes mature. And let's say someone wants to buy that stake and I want my profits early. First of all, if HexBay didn't exist, I would pay a harsher penalty than 10%. Okay, HexBay builds in a 10% penalty that the seller of the stake pays.
Yeah, as they call it.
Right. So let's say I sell my stake, my Cuatro Cinco stake at year 10. It's got 5 years left till it's mature. The person who buys it, all right, they're going to hold this Quattro Cinco stake for 5 years. They're only having Hex under the control for 5 years. Now, without HexBay, that sounds like a 5-year stake to me. That's a much lower interest rate than you would get than acquiring someone else's Quattro Cinco stake. And the big problem I have is if that new buyer of that stake, if what he wants is a Quattro Cinco stake, which I'm assuming he does because he wants the yield that that stake is now generating because it's a Quattro Cinco and it's 10 years in, it's 5 years from maturity. If he couldn't buy that on the market, the only way to get those yields would be to acquire the Hex that he has to acquire anyway to make this transaction. But then he would have to stake it for Quattro Cinco.
Longer and a much larger Hex purchase to come close to equaling what those two shares were.
Because
10
of the
years
share
ago.
price.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the share price would have gone up. We're 10 years into this thing at this point in the scenario.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the difference between the original Hex that was used, that Quattro Cinco stake 10 years ago. I'm looking at the difference between those Hex just staying locked up for the full duration of the stake versus the new buyer who wants a Quattro Cinco stake also having to lock up Hex to acquire a new Quattro Cinco stake. So the way I look at it, there are 10 years of Hex that would have been staked if HexBay is not being used in the scenario. The original staker would have no choice. They would either have to hold that stake until maturity for another 5 years, or their penalty is going to be greater than 10%. And the person who wants a Quattro Cinco stake would have to stake Hex for 15 years out in the future. So I'm looking at 10 years of some amount of Hex that won't be
there, won't be purchased, won't be staked out,
won't be purchased, won't be staked out. And people saying that this creates a buying pressure. The party buying the stake, yeah, they have to purchase the Hex on the open market. But there are only two reasons I can think of why someone would want to get rid of their Quattro Cinco stake, say 10 years in. One, because they want their profits early. And two, maybe they want to trade stakes. So if they want their profits early,
stake earlier.
They're, if they messed up, like the whole point of Hex, the whole point of you not being able to get out of your agreement with the Hex smart contract is to incentivize you to think about this before you stake, not to take out loans, go rob a bank, borrow money, and then drain your account and stake it all for Quattro Cinco. Like, man, that's probably not a great idea. Hex does incentivize amazing behavior alone that could change people's lives, get people into a mode of operating in a way that makes their lives better. I mean, most people are
100%.
terrible decision makers, right?
Yep.
So that person getting rid of, if they want their profits early, whether they've had an emergency, which Hex also incentivizes you to keep your life in order to prevent emergencies so that your money doesn't have to be emergency end staked. Right. And if you can't do this, if you're just too irresponsible, if you can't manage risk at all, if you're just greedy, if you just can't wait, then the penalty is there to greet you, right? And the penalty would be pretty devastating. Ending a Quattro Cinco 10 years into the stake. So I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem with that incentive being diminished for someone who wants to get out of an early stake. If someone, look, I've got a lot of Quattro Cinco stakes, and if I want to emergency end stake them one day, it's nice knowing that penalty is there because sellers of crypto have not done well. Somebody sold coins at $1,000 and watched them go to 20,000 and 5,000, and how devastating. And I would love to grab one of those guys and say, like, what did you buy? What did you buy when you sold your stack for $1,000 each? If you're still alive, you probably those guys don't feel great about that. Hex saves people from that, and it's
from themselves.
Themselves. And the other reason I can think that someone would want to get rid of their stakes is if their intention in the first place, and we're thinking long into the future, right? I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about 10, 15, 20 years into the future, 30, 50 years into the future. I can see where people go on this platform and their only intention is to create mega long stakes so that they can sell them on the market. And yeah, maybe those guys aren't going to sell that hex. Oh, by the way, let me back up for a second. The person who wants to sell their stake for either an emergency or they want the profits early, of course, they're going to sell the hex. So the person buying the stake, they have to buy the hex on the open market, plus whatever the asking price is, and that goes to the original staker. Those hex are going to be sold, so there's no extra buying pressure here. You get a buy and a sell.
Their claim is that that 10%, that 10% that gets eaten up in the process, 7 of that 10% gets continuously redistributed into emergency unstake penalties for everybody.
No, I think it's
versus.
I think it's 5% and 5% to the OA.
To the OA.
Was it?
Yeah,
is it 5? Oh yeah, well, okay. I thought it was I thought it was a 3% dev fee, and then 7% went to.
It's 3% or like 0.3%. I'm not quite sure on exactly what it is, but
okay. And then so they do have some buy pressure in the idea that most of that 10% that is going to be considered they have to keep it trustless. I mean, there's pieces of what they're doing that I can't say is all bad. They're trying to do some things to make it right. I would never use the contract personally, but I mean, I do see where there's a little bit more buy pressure.
Hold up, 1 second, BitFinesse. Can you clarify the last? I agree with everything you said, and I just want to clarify. What was the last part about that hex being sold? What hex is being sold? Just trying to clarify
the hex that they had to acquire on the open market, the hex that they had to acquire on the open market to buy the stake is gonna if you're gonna give it to somebody,
it's gotta turn around and be sold anyway.
That was what I was saying is 90% of it, because 10% goes to the
100%. I agree.
And so I'm obviously just comparing HexBay existence versus no HexBay existence. So that's HexBay existence. If HexBay didn't exist, the person who wants a Quattro Cinco stake has to buy Hex,
and can't
which he's got to buy Hex anyway, and now he can't sell it. He's got to lock it up if he wants those returns in the future.
The difference is, though, is the other guy that wants to get out, it can sell, and that Hex that he's going to get, whereas before he can't without stiff penalties.
Yeah.
Well,
and sell pressure.
And people are saying he won't necessarily sell. He will sell if he's unstaking because he staked too hard and too long, or he was irresponsible, or there's an emergency that he couldn't prevent. These are reasons someone will sell, which I think is most of the reasons.
He's hit a price appreciation point that's a target of his, and then there's no real restraints anymore, because these stakes that are made in Hex Bay, you're not locked into jack shit. So he has the ability to stake. He has the ability to sell that at that point. So he's hit the mark that he wants to hit, sells his Hex Bay stake, and then he's going to sell the hex. He will sell the hex, or she, whoever.
And as a side note, because what Motley just said made me think of people getting out of crypto. I'm sure we all have a number in USD where we're happy to walk away from crypto and just live on our USD forever. But let me remind you that just what Harry Dent said, which I really like that guy. I read a few of his books way back in the day. He's a really smart dude. He knows what he's talking about. He's right on most things. The increase of money printing from a decade ago, a couple of years ago, it's been 10x. right? Like the amount of money that's being printed and the dollars that are being printed is going up. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who misjudge what the money printing is going to look like. Say you retire tomorrow, hey, you've got, you know, $100 million you made in crypto. Cool, you get out of crypto, you get in the USD. 10 years goes by, 20 years goes by, and wow, who could have imagined how much money they're printing now? I mean, we don't think of exponential rates very accurately. Our brains kind of aren't programmed that way. But I think a lot of people are going to get out of crypto early and realize, oh, I thought I had enough money. I thought I had enough USD. I don't, because they keep printing money faster and faster.
Yep.
And, oh, no, now I have to go into real estate. Well, good luck with that, you know? Good luck. Or you have to buy in way higher. Also, the beauty of having a Quattro Cinco stake is that whatever price you buy, say, Hex for, and you stake it for 5,555 days, by the time you get to year 10, look, money printer go burr, everything go up forever. That's the environment we're in. Of course, Hex is going to be trading at a much higher value. So getting in 10 years from now is just going to carry way more risk, and it always will, versus getting in now. And that's always going to be the case because everything's going to go up forever.
Yeah, I mean, in this environment, it sure feels like that. You know, I used to believe that there would be some serious compression. You know, I'm like, maybe there will be, but it doesn't seem like. I was just reading an article today where they're like, nope, we're going to keep the monetary policy pretty much just where it is. Rates low, money up. So yeah.
Yeah, just because something can be built doesn't mean it needs to be
should.
built. And I get it. It probably was going to happen at some point regardless because it is decentralized. It can be built on top of, and someone, Earl in this case, took advantage of that and built the system out. And he did put some features in that are supposedly supposed to be price positive to some degree towards hexagons, and it's probably a lot more friendly than what someone who wanted to attack the system maliciously could have built. But at the same time, I think overall, I tend to find it to be much more negative as far as it goes against everything Hex was initially designed for. We were designed to delay gratification. We were designed to longer pays better. We were designed to everything that Hex was designed to create these better mental behaviors. It all gets broken by Hex Bay, and as the future goes on in the project, and we'll see. And look, we're in a space full of degens. It is a very unhealthy space. And people are going to be making these Quattro Cinco stakes for the max ROI. And you're going to have a max flood. If it gains traction, you'll have a flood of these stakes in. The APY weighted average will eventually start scaling to the right a lot further than it would have done naturally. The APY for legacy stakes or any other stakes that aren't done out to Quattro Cinco will eventually start to drop off. And now it's no longer as tantalizing for people to come in the future during a bear market or do the things. OA can do some measures to counteract that if it wants to do a larger stake, large short stake to try to balance out that average APY. But eventually that's going to be a losing battle with HexBay in place. So there's overall, I get it. It was made. There's nothing that can be done about it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't analyze the impact, both good and bad, of what could come of this. And you have to be smart moving forward how you decide whether or not you interact with this or you don't. You're increasing the attack surface. It's another centralized entity, whether it's a smart contract or not. It's still another entity built onto another layer that has to interact with the first layer, and you have to come in and out of both. And so your attack vector, your vector for bugs, everything is increased from a system that already worked perfectly before. So are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to do all these things? And look at it this way, guys. If you're going to do a Quattro Cinco stake anyway, no one's going to buy that for years and years to come anyways. Make a 3, 4, 5 year stake. No one's going to buy that Quattro Cinco stake unless they want to pay pennies on the dollar for it. If you've only got 1 year down, they'll like, I'll give you 10% of what that's worth. We're in a bear market. Those people that are degenerative and like they want to stake that they can just get out of, they're going to sell those when we hit a bear market, and no one's going to pay them. And so now you have outside entities that are going to come in, collect all those Quattro Cinco stakes for pennies on the dollar, and they're now the new whales. Everything that we wanted to build and grow new whales, all that gets wiped out because now you have the ability for big companies, big investors to come in, grab the weak hands, grab T-shares that would have never been available to them in the first place, and now they're the new whales because they have more money than you. And now that they have a time machine that they have the ability to use through HexBay, they can outposition you in a blink of an eye. So I find a lot of problem. I spent hours with community members going back and forth on this. I always end up finding much more negatives than I do positives in this scenario.
Well said. My camera exit scammed on me.
So I agree with a lot of that.
The other
There's just a few
want to sell, say, a Quattro Cinco stake at year 10 is someone who already was going to sell a Quattro Cinco stake at year 10, say a trader, right? So Hex is here so that you don't have to trade to yield a return. I stopped trading. I lost $15,000 trading Bitcoin. I made $8,000 back, and I got really good at trading. I got really good at managing risk. I was trading the yellow 21, green 55, cyan 89, purple 200, red 10 symbol, pink 200 symbol, red 9, blue 377, white daily 600 moving averages. And I got really good at that. But it was very obvious that so long as I was managing risk properly, which is like a finicky thing, it's like staying on a diet. It's like, you can go get bad food anywhere. It's really hard to stay on a diet, right? It only takes a blink of an eye to crank that leverage bar. It became really obvious really fast that there's no way my returns while managing risk are going to outpace my returns that Hex is going to bring me just sitting on my thumbs. And that's a really hard thing to do. It's really hard. It's fun buying the red and green, hitting the red and green buttons. It's kind of fun doing the research. By the way, nobody's researching anything. Like, we have actually researched Hex. We've been looking at this thing for years. We've been thinking about this before it was even launched. Nobody is looking into any project. Very few people are looking into projects with that kind of rigor. It's just not happening. And it takes a long time. It takes years to research this stuff. This is very complicated stuff. It's very technological stuff. This stuff's hard. It's hard to understand it. So after you've researched something like Hex, it's like, good luck having the gusto to also go research another thing to make sure that is also safe. So there's a risk management issue there. We kind of let our guard down. The more layers you use, the more tiers you use, the more platforms you use, the bigger risk there is that you're not going to research something as much as you've researched Hex. So there's major risk there. So getting back to the trader who plans on staking for full length Quattro Cinco and letting it go at year 10, yeah, that person might not sell the Hex. They might take whatever money they make selling their stake on the open market, if they can sell it. For a long time, this stuff's going to be like trading Bitcoin options. It's going to be very hard to find a buyer. But those people who already intend on selling those stakes, perhaps they are going to roll those Hex into another stake and try to repeat that process. Okay. But Hex is designed to give you an incredible return without having to trade. Those traders are going to get super fucked eventually when they have leveraged themselves, when they fail to manage risk because maybe they sold 5 or 6 stakes already and it worked out, and now they've got all their money tied up in this stake that they have to hold because they can't sell on this layer. So it goes back to the idea that every time you try to remove risk, you end up piling it on your head, because risk is like dirt. We live on a ball of dirt, guys. There's a ton of dirt here, and it's not going anywhere. Now, I can show you some places where there's no dirt. Nice, clean. I'm looking at a place right now. No dirt right here. But The dirt has just been moved somewhere else. The dirt's still here. That's what a risk is like. You can't get rid of risk. You can spread it to someone else. And, you know, being a user of a thing, being someone who actually executes these things, the risk usually hits you. Like, you're not going to get bailed out. Nobody's coming to save you. And that's the beauty of Hex. You don't have to, like, Hex is here to save you. You can save yourself from yourself. So using these other layers, I think it is really important to understand that these things do compound risk on you. I mean, whether it be from your own folly or technological risk or contract risk, and maybe it's minimal. Maybe HexBay really is going to do an audit and just not tell us what the parameters are. Maybe. But in the real world, and I'm not saying HexBay are bad people, I'm not saying they're bad characters, I'm just saying I don't know. And, you know, when I got into Hex, I felt like I really knew Richard Hart. I watched his videos for a long time. But even still, I couldn't go all in on Hex on day 2. I couldn't do it. I still had to manage risk because trust and finances, trust in crypto, these things don't mix. So that's why you'll hear me say the worst thing about Hex is that it's too good, because that actually screwed me. I should have so much more Hex right now. I had so much more money to put into it, and I could have, and I didn't. I was careful. So in all of these things in crypto, there are going to be times when I don't make the highest ROI. There are going to be airdrops I don't get. I didn't get the 1-inch airdrop. How about that? I didn't get it. I did not get it. As a matter of fact, I didn't get the first Uniswap airdrop. I didn't get that one because I got a little bit more Hex using the AA than using Uniswap back in the old days. Now, I watched a lot of people make a lot of money getting the Uniswap, and I was happy for each and one of you bastards. And the airdrop's coming up. You guys who have the balls and have the extra cash to put into these other things, I hope you get filthy freaking rich, because I spent about $200 doing the MetaMask thing, and I said, okay, well, I'm willing to lose $200. And I think everyone doing that, who I know of in Hex, is setting aside an amount of money that they're okay with losing, and that's cool. But with these encapsulated stakes, I think there's going to be a lot of traders trading stakes just to trade them. And if you are going to trade stakes just to trade them, why would every one of your stakes not be Quattro Cinco? So what if HexBay gets really popular? And that's the thing that hits MSNBC. And that is the way that most people are onboarded into Hex. If you know that, well, I'm on this certain layer of this thing, my stake can be sold perhaps in the future, why wouldn't you stake for 5,555 days? So very distant in the future, we could be looking at a situation where the people who get screwed the most are the people who only stake for 5 years or only stake for 10 years, because the APY could get reduced, and the APY is going to get reduced. That's going to happen with or without HexBay, regardless.
It's
the difference is now it's expedited. Now it's accelerated, and it could be accelerated to a wild extent. Yep. And what we all who are early understand is that yes, hedge funds can't get in right now. Yes, Mark Cuban doesn't want it. These really rich people don't know what it is, and we are so happy about that, because that means for the time being we get a much higher ROI, and that ROI is going to drop, but it's going to drop much slower without HexBay, because Quattro Cinco stakes are going to be the norm if that is a layer that onboarders are directed to. So I have a problem with that.
Agreed. Well said.
Very well said.
All right, that wraps up the show for today. Thank you, everyone, for... No, just kidding.
Doesn't even scratch the surface. Doesn't even scratch the surface.
Well, when the other I guess it was last
What do you think,
summer.
Cabana?
Let's say the other.
Host. What do you think?
I'm,
What's your position?
I am very basic on this. My thoughts on this are the same as they were with Hexy. And I think one of you probably said it very simply as I would say it. Maybe it was you, Motley. If you have something that's already great, why mess around with it? Yes, I know, crypto is a bunch of degens, and this... It was like listening to the interview on Crypto
Sparkle.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, I think it was his name's Fabian. He opened with, well, I was waiting for it to happen, and it didn't happen within the first month, and then I was waiting for it to happen in the second month, and he's like, why isn't anybody doing this? And it's like, not just him, but it's the landscape. People are looking to build on top of other stuff. How can I mess with it or tinker with it? I won't want to say mess because, maybe there's no, bad intentions there. But as BitFinesse was saying, it's like, this thing is perfect. It's too good. So why even mess with it? And I know it's a basic stance, but it's my stance for a lot of things in life. It's like, can't you just leave well enough alone? And out of all cryptos, all of them, why can't you leave this alone? Hey, I already said it. It is crypto, but
I think that
I would like to see someone build a pool. I think there's a lot of ground that could be made for crowdfunding, things like GoFundMe. Where someone could build a smart contract that's actually trustless, that has, a place for maybe, a certain amount of admins, and that smart contract could be programmed to be sent money to, and it could be programmed to, always display the admins that are selected for whatever group. Trusts can be built on top of Hex, and that would be awesome.
How about now?
People, people can get together, say, we want to do this thing. If you want to donate to it, do it here. Here are the people involved. Here's whatever. Things like that could actually be useful. I mean,
all right, BitFinesse, let's let Big K talk. I think that's what he's trying to get at.
Hey, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I can. Yeah,
let's not kill everyone's eardrums. We get the joke.
Sorry.
God.
Is it
mine.
Richard's yelling?
Sorry.
Okay.
That should be a little bit better.
Let's hear it, Big K.
I'm 100% with Cabana. I'm almost 100% with all of you. I have a different I thought on it, and that's it's similar to everything else we've been talking about, in that I don't believe that. Well, I think that lots of people are trying to build on whatever. I do not, just like many other Hex projects built on top of it, I don't believe that it will gain the traction that it wants to, and that we are fearing that it will. And I mean, and that goes because I've seen a bunch of other, whether it's the Hexy stuff, or whether it's the Tweakeneer stuff, or whether it's whatever was out there before that offered something better, quote unquote, to Hex. Oh, but by the way, there's a dev fee, and by the way, we do this other fun thing, and there's this extra layer of centralization, and there's this other shitty, like, just razzle dazzle. We won't look over there. It's just don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain kind of shit. And like that like hasn't played out well for any of those projects so far. None of those have gained actual traction. I mean, I went and looked through some of the numbers of some of the play games beforehand, and like they're just about the same amount of users that they had after like day 3 or day, after like the first week of their products, So like I am like, I don't think that it's in the ethos of Hex by any means what this contract is, but I also don't fear it as in the same way, like, because I don't think, like, most of the people that, like, a lot of people that find out about Hex and hear about Hex hear about it from influencers or like us, and they hear about it from people that have a good spin on it, and the story, the narrative of it, lends itself to like moving away from all of those things that this offers that we don't like, So like, I mean, in general, like I don't think that most people are going to sign up for a second layer situation that is going to, even big entities that think that there's profit possibly in it. I don't think that, and that's not to include the other piece that I was going to bring up is the actual, like the longevity of this contract, in the sense that like you right. You also, I think it was Motley, you said it, that you can't sell these stakes for like a year plus more anyways, because like the value has to be there. Like nobody's going to buy your stake now, like in a week that you set up through HexBay, because they can just set up one too that's of similar size, just that doesn't. So, okay. So there's like this bell curve of usefulness of this contract. And like very early on, it's not very useful at all, like within the first couple years. And then very late on, after like 10 to 15 years, I believe that people aren't going to be that interested in getting a year or two of interest, like I just don't think that they're going to be like there won't be giant margins on buying those stakes. So I think that there might be a useful time in between, but then at that point in time, it's entirely speculative. I mean, buying those stakes between years 3 and 9 are still pretty speculative if you're talking 15-year stakes. So I really don't. I just don't have the fear of this contract. I'm not interested personally. Like I'm not gonna like tell anybody that I know. Like if somebody that I know that like I know some hex people that I've been, hexikins that I've onboarded that are that ask a lot of deep questions about the contract and the system in general. Sure, I'm sure this will come up in conversation, but it won't be something I talk about like unless it gains some sort of insane traction that I'm not expecting. But I just don't think it will.
I'm going to say something really dirty.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Never.
Go ahead, BitFinesse.
First of all, you can sell a 5-year stake right now. You can sell a Cuatro Cinco stake right now. But you got to wait until the 5 years is over. And you got to wait until the 15 years is over. That gives you a lot of time to think. Protects you from yourself. But also, I'm a MetaMask guy. By the way, MetaMask, I was so scared of MetaMask because it sounds scary. When I tell new people about MetaMask, they like hug the ground. It just sounds scary. But so I don't think I'll ever use Gnosis Safe. And we know the guys who built that. They're real honest, super smart dudes. They're accessible. You can talk to them in Telegram. And I'll probably always just use MetaMask and use Staker.app as a viewing window, because I like that my laptop is 100% air gapped and that there's no crypto anything on my phone, and I like it that way. I just feel better that way. So, but the real dirty thing is in 2017, 2018, people were building things in hopes of getting attention for crypto. So they were just building stuff. They were just promising stuff and then kind of building stuff. And I don't think Hex has to do that. I think Hex is so good that when people find out what it is, they're going to run to it. Institutions are going to run to it. Banks are going to run. Any entity wanting a yield is going to run to this thing. I don't think we have to build extra stuff to get attention from the rest of the world. The attention is going to come.
And so BitFinesse brings up a good point. So, and I've thought about this too as well with Steph, Firebun, OG commuters. And this isn't a knock against Earl or Fabian, whatever his name is, but Steph and Firebun set out to build something truly great, truly something that's not been seen in the space, with something that takes us directly from fiat to cryptocurrency, and they left it ETH, Hex, USD. They've developed a Gnosis Safe, like BitFinesse was talking about, which is on the cutting edge of what crypto is. So you're able to have your own seeds built into this wallet. He's still not as comfortable with it, which I understand. But everything they've done, it's to promote the good intentions and the essentially the game theory and everything that Hex instilled into everyone as far as good behavior, everything that the project embodies, they went out to pursue to make it better, gain adoption, and to grow what Hex was, which is a beautiful thing. And again, not to knock Earl, but he developed and built something too, which in his mind was going to increase the adoption of Hex, which at the end of the day, as much as I like to knock HexBay, maybe this is something that gains adoption, which is the ultimate goal, but at what cost as well, right? So like whereas Staker.app promotes and rewards good behaviors, allows you to see what good behaviors can generate you, and embodies everything that Hex is. And I know this is getting a little just kind of sappy and everything, but whereas HexBay is the opposite. It's like, hey, stake out the max length, get the max ROI with the intention to sell at an earlier date than you promised. That's all it boils down to. And I'm sure he had good intentions for adoption and everything like that, but to me, it's just you're building a degenerative mindset, an unhealthy mindset, and the community members that we've brought into this space, like we might have our disagreements, we might disagree on several different things, but overall, we all carry a core concept that we all agree with about all these philosophies that Hex is instilled. Like, it's not a fluke that all of us came together. We all have similar mindsets. We all value the same things. And for me, and it might just be a belief system, but just HexBay just totally trashes all that stuff for me. And Hex will get the adoption. It will come. The community is too strong. The product's too good. It hits too many notes not to succeed, not to become the #1 cryptocurrency at some point. But you have to be fucking patient. It's a goddamn certificate of fucking deposit. It's not a get quick rich. You might not see the gains you want to fucking see this bull cycle. I'm sorry. You might not. We like to throw moon math out there, but you might not see it this bull cycle. You might have to go through another bear cycle. You might have to wait until the next bull cycle. But we're not going anywhere. We agreed to do these stakes. We agreed to go to the fruition of these things, and you will get rewarded for it, regardless if you do this. HexBay, you're lying to yourself though if you think you're going to hold longer than I am, because I don't have to worry about my weak hands getting shaken out, because the contract, the code, everything that's completely trustless and decentralized is going to make sure that I uphold that promise I made. And it's overall going to be healthier and more financially rewarding for me to stay on what Hex was created upon.
And going back on what Big Kirk was saying about it gaining traction, that's also up to the Hexkin community. Yep. And what we have right now is kind of what Bitcoin had, back in the beginning. We are, the first movers. We have first mover advantage, and we keep these streams going. We keep the education going. We keep onboarding great long-term minded people. This will be a non-issue. It's an issue right now because it's kind of newsworthy, and it's something very much worth talking about because it flies in the face of what the product was built for. But as long as this community stays vibrant and strong, like Kirk said, I can't see it, gaining that much traction to be that meaningful in the long term.
Yeah, and the thing is that like, it doesn't need to have that much traction, but it does. And I love everything that you said, Motley, dude. I'm 100% with you, and that's like why I'm here and how I feel the things I feel. But to do that thing that I do, to devil's advocate it just for a second here, it allows for another narrative, and there's something about that Richard's talked about. Like Hex has a narrative for everybody. You want to be a swing trader? Look at this chart. You want to be, a bitch and bitch out of your stakes? Well, here's the garbage contract to use that. You want to fucking waste your money on stupid games? Well, we've got them all. Like we do have every narrative, and there's like I am inclusive and think that Hex is strong enough and badass enough, and the community especially is badass enough. I mean, just like one of those things that Maddie has said, like, when you unstake, none of these coins that are coming unstaked are going to be sold, until you make the decision to sell them, and that's same thing with this shit. Like unless you make the decision to use this shit and take what is some serious chunks off of each side. Cause like if it's just, I don't see it, being, something that people will do.
To counter your devil advocate's position right away, it's people don't realize the number one factor in Hex. It's the community. It's people literally committing to stay around and put in countless hours of their time at their own expense and to just further everyone else's bags. Yes, you're pumping your own bag, so there is selfishness in there as well, but you grow with this community. So look at what something like someone who's willing or sees HexBay as something that's what they want to pursue as opposed to what Hex is. That kind of person is something that is really not in Hex. People that are in Hex right now, the community that's built, that's thrived, that's essentially become a family of a bunch of online streamers across the freaking world, has come into existence based off the core values of Hex. People that come in to utilize and adopt and use HexBay for what HexBay does is not going to give you that core community, because those people are looking to exit sooner than what their promise is. And those people are not going to give the shirts off their back. They're not going to help you with setting up your stream. They're not going to help you with what you need to do. Like, I've made more friends through this community and this past year than I have probably at any stage of my life. And that's not to say like I just shut in and I hate all people, but seriously, it's weird, right? Like something magical has freaking happened here where a group of people that are so like-minded is correlated around one product, one opportunity in their lifetime. And I cherish the fuck out of that shit. Whereas HexBay is not going to bring those people in. It's not. No. It's going to bring a different breed that's, I feel, is going to taint the community to some degree. Now, at what extent does that take place, or what time period are we looking at for that to occur? I don't know. I know what Hex has done. I know what it will do in the future. It's just at what point do we get there? Do we need HexBay? Some people might argue yes. I say no. That's all. Well,
and a thing about Earl, I never met the guy, obviously. I've seen very little of him on video. There's evil and then there's stupid. Now, I don't think Earl is evil. Okay? I don't think Earl is stupid. I mean, he's obviously way smarter than I am. The guy's a developer. But when things go wrong, it's either because someone intended to fuck something up, to fuck you, or somebody made a mistake. Yeah. Now, I'll even give Earl that it is very possible that his only intention with creating HexBay is to give the poor little staking bastard who just had his life ruined, his wife left him, his dog, ate his lunch, whatever. He's got to get out of his stake, and now here's an opportunity for this poor bastard to get his money back. Maybe that's Earl's only intention. I'll give that to you. But when things go wrong, and if it's just because someone made a mistake or someone fucked up a tiny little piece of the code or what have you, it doesn't matter if it's evil or stupidity. People say don't assign malice to what can be identified as stupidity. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if something malicious was done to you because of evil or stupidity. I'm not playing with $200 here. I'm playing with several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there are three things in life I've learned the hard way not to play with: food, guns, and fucking money. It's a big deal. So when it comes to managing risk, you got to be real careful. Anybody who's thinking about using any of this shit, you better at least put the time into researching this that you put into researching Hex. And we're talking about multiple years here, because it doesn't take an act of God for you to lose your money in crypto. I mean, this is dangerous shit. We know that Hex works. We know how awesome it is. We're using it. Like, we actually use crypto. We're using crypto for growing our money and getting rich. And we're not afraid or ashamed to say that that's why we're using this product, is because it grows our money for us. You've got to be careful with these other things. And it doesn't have to be a guy being a bad actor. It can be someone just simply making a mistake. It can be that innocent, and your money's still gone.
As they say, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
And that's the thing, right? Like I was talking to one of the OG devs that I trust 100% in the community, and essentially out of the conversation I got was like at the end, he was just like, well, I trust they mean well. Obviously, do your due diligence and everything like that, and that's all good, right? And that's what BitFinesse was talking to. But like, even if the intentions are well put and you intend to do well for the community, it doesn't mean the repercussions are going to benefit in the long run. You can have the best intent in your fucking heart when it comes to growing the community, making everyone successful, rich beyond their desires. It doesn't mean because your intentions are well placed, it doesn't mean the results are going to be beneficial as well. It's just the two don't have to go hand in hand.
And people do all sorts of dumb things that they think are good, and then they, that's by the nature of it. I mean, that's why any of this stuff is super dangerous. That's why we talk the talk we talk, is because there's so much of this shit is unaudited, and so many people think they're like somehow cool for moving fast and breaking things. Like that stupid Facebook motto is like cool or good, and it's like you're like, no, you're actually fucking with people's privacy and their lives and shit. Like that's pretty fucked. So like having an understanding of that is crucial, and most people. I mean, that's part of the education of Hex. It's a life education in a lot of ways too, and that's why I agree with you, Motley, that it's not really, something I'm interested in. And I'm hoping that, it's fun. Like Cabana said, it's fun for the talk, but I'm hoping that it's, something that we can move past in a relatively quick period of time.
Yeah, it's a newsworthy event. Again, you just said it there, and that's why we're talking about it. Kinetics, man, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing?
the lurker, but
yeah, it's good to see all you guys. Yeah. Good to see all of you guys.
How awesome this community is. So yesterday, BitFinesse, he was trying to get on, messaged me and was like, all right, something just changed with work, so I don't know about that. Vince had another conflict. And I just reached out to Motley. Yash Deep volunteered to come on, and we ended up with like more than double. What? Everybody's like, "Cool, I'll come on." So thanks. This community is awesome, man. So anyway, Kinetics messaged me just like an hour ago. So what's up, man? I'm sure you have a take that I have or have not seen yet, because I'm a little backlogged with all the Hex content.
Yeah, dude, trust me, I totally understand that, man. In fact, what was it, Wednesday night when there were 2 streams going on at the same time? I didn't catch either one of them, so not even the one I'm affiliated with. So I spent all day yesterday trying to catch up on everything I'd missed all the days before. So watched both those streams. In fact, Molly, I didn't even get to finish yours until earlier today. So
all good.
Yeah, so I apologize, guys, for not being able to keep up on everybody's content. But I was watching the Crypto Sparbook channel.
Perfect.
Trying, man. I'm trying hard over here. And I was listening to Hex Bay, and it's not what I envisioned. Now that I know a little bit more after watching that, it's not at all what I envisioned for what I saw could be price positive for the Hexican Nation. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, and I'm not saying it's not a neat idea. When you build something on a blockchain that is open source, and obviously the hex code itself isn't open source, someone building on top of that is just inevitable. You're not going to stop it. It's going to happen. So it doesn't sound like the guy's got any bad intentions. It's kind of cool that the 10% gets nuked and distributed to all the staker class when the encapsulated stakes start. But at the same time, it's not what I was imagining in my mind of the way that this could work, where the underlying asset didn't get messed with. The price was only bought, and then the individual shares were sold within the stake. That's not how I was picturing it, and I admitted yesterday on the show, before I started talking about it, I didn't know a lot about it, but there was a way I thought maybe it could be price positive for us Hexicans. And if the OA owns 80% of the coins like we believe it does, that the worst case scenario is our APY after 5 years would go from 40% to 20%. So it would happen, but the possibility of the price appreciation in USD would exponentially go up on the Hex side. So it's not, again, it didn't work the way I thought I was imagining in my mind these stakes would work. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope you guys have got your bags in now. If you guys are not done accumulating, do it now, because I think if this works the way I think it's going to, I think newcomers are going to be priced out of the market buying Hex.
Well, and real quick to Sapper's question, it's, do we even know what the value of the stake is? Maybe you think you're selling it for the right price, but do you even know what the value of you don't, because we're in a dynamic system, right? So regardless of what you sell it, you don't know if you actually got bamboozled or not. You don't know what that value of that stake was going to be if you sell it 1, 2, 3, 5 years early. You don't know if you're actually going to take maybe a life-changing loss even on that stake. You don't know, because the system is always changing. So you can't even really determine if you're selling your stake at a huge discount or not. We don't.
I 100% agree with Motley on this, because there's and when you're like, oh, I could just sell my 90,000 stake because I started with 100,000. There was a 10% cost to get into it, and I'm gonna just sell that 90,000. Even if you sell it back in 100,000, you have no idea, because I guarantee most of the encapsulated stakes are going to be these Cuatro Cinco stakes that people can sell later at a premium, or they think they're going to be able to at a premium. And I have a feeling even if you sell it for 3-4 times what you bought it for, you're still going to end up with less in the long run.
Yeah, I think Whale's only comment too. It's like you can almost guarantee that it's going to be less. And he's probably right.
Yeah, because the only people that are going to be buying up, it's just going to be anybody, like, any other marketplace that's out there. There's going to be this like group of people that will always offer you pennies on the dollar of what your shit is worth that like come up on any ad, and they're going to scoop up a lot of the cheap stuff from people who are in who are stupid or in desperation situations.
But even that guy who wants to get into Hex. If HexBay doesn't exist and he can't buy a stake that's already staked, how would he have to get into Hex? He would have to buy and stake. And to get the returns that stake he's buying is getting, he would have to stake for 5,555. So I want to make sure that someone here, because I think you're all way smarter than I am, if someone here has a counter argument to my initial argument, which is the missing staked Hex for 10 years, please destroy me. Because that's my biggest concern. My biggest concern is that a guy who's going to buy a 555 stake when it's got 5 years left to go to maturity, he's buying the Hex on the market, giving it to the original staker. Staker may sell or may not. But that buyer of that stake, he otherwise, to get those yields, he otherwise would have had to buy Hex and stake it for 5,555, whereas he's just letting someone out 10 years into their 15-year agreement. So there's 10 years of staked Hex that won't happen in that scenario.
So here's two things that I think that are interesting thoughts. The first one's a simple one that I like that Silver brought up earlier. I've been like toying around with it. Like, really, this is like a drop of water in the ocean kind of thing, because so much of Hex in general is staked or not going to be available to be staked. So like they're gaining very much traction. For now, we'll be gaining much traction. Will be difficult in that system. The other thing is that we talk a big game about staker being awesome, and it is awesome, right? But even that, as it is, as a smart contract built on top, to work as it is, and something we promote, it's not like how many millions of Hex are staked through staker versus through the original contract. Is it even like a 1%? Probably not. Probably not.
I don't know. Anybody got numbers on that?
I don't, but I can tell you that like if people are putting millions of coins on there and staking them, I mean, it would be I would think it would be like notable, I think we'd be hearing more about it. I just don't think that like it's gaining, I just I just think that most people, even with a good product, are going to use the main chain, the normal Hex main chain. The most people will. I mean, like even when there's the layer one system, And so, we don't. We'll find out in the future. That's for sure. We will find out in the future.
Here's what I know. I can't ever sell all of my Hex. Okay, great. You sell all of your Hex, you make $1 billion. Okay, well, you're not dead. You're still alive. Now what? Now you're holding dollars. And, maybe the exponential rate at which the money printer go burr keep going up. Well, man, you've sold all your Hex? Wow. That's very misfortunate that you've done that. Because now you're left with other things. And yet, like you mentioned kinetics, yes, there are things that you can make 40 way more. You can make 4,000% returns in the market if you want, but you're going to take on quite a bit of risk. You're not going to do that
absolutely.
under Hex's original risk parameters. I mean, you are really gambling. And I'm all for gambling, so long as you know you're gambling. I'm all for drugs, so long as you know you're doing drugs, right? If you're smoking meth and you think you're eating broccoli, then you got a serious problem. Handle the coke, do the coke, enjoy yourself on the weekends.
Like, there's vitamins in this shit. Then like, no, there's not.
Is that financial advice? Is that financial advice?
It's not.
Life advice from BitFinesse.
And I'll also posit that it is way easier to manage risk on evil than it is to manage risk on stupidity. Again, not calling Earl anybody stupid, but if I'm dealing, I would rather deal with an evil entity than one that might make a mistake here or there. Because evil is gonna do evil. You got to watch a guy; he's a bad guy or whatever. But what's more dangerous is someone who's actually a good actor, who just, might make a mistake here or there. Like, you can't ever tell when that's going to bite you.
True.
Well said.
That's true. That's why, like, what we were talking about earlier. I mean, it's just like all this shit that's built all around us. That's basically a house of cards. I just think that we all know that Richard has spent an asinine amount of time building this project for a lot of careful reasons. Because even as smart as he is, he understands that, like, he doesn't want to fuck this shit up and lose people's money. Like, that's not in the cards. It can't happen. But everyone else building shit in quick time frames before that, I mean, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to, how well it's coded.
And by all means, use
but
it
it's
if you
because
want to.
I know that I can't ever
Go ahead.
accept the risks. It's because I know that I can't ever sell my Hex. Because I will sell Hex. I will be selling Hex, guys. When Hex goes to $77, I will sell teeny tiny pieces of my interest. Like, the dollar spends just fine. There's nothing wrong with the dollar. The dollar is great for spending. I will never. Just really got to be careful. But it's because I know that I can't really ever sell all of my Hex. Like, it's the thing generating me money, real actual money that's going to be more valuable as time progresses. I can't ever sell all this stuff. So that's why I'm not thinking 15 years into the future. Like, that is, I've got a staking ladder in my head that I haven't even posted yet, and it's just stake it all out for 15 years. And then when you get to that 15 years, then 15 years more, and then start working back 5 years from there, 6 years from there, 70, and then let them meet in the middle. But it's just too valuable to ever fully get rid of. So I am thinking super long term, way beyond 15 years. That's why the only thing I can think about is what a buyer of a stake would have done if he couldn't buy someone else's stake to get those yields, if he had to stake for 15 years out. So there's this missing stake that otherwise would have been staked, unless we're dealing with someone who would either buy a stake or not get into Hex. That's possible.
You're your own Federal Reserve. Why would you ever sell out of your position of being able to print yourself infinite money? You're just not. It would be beyond stupid to ever do that. You never sell out of your entire position of Hex.
Like the Reserve selling their printing machines to.
Yeah, it's like, we don't want these anymore. We don't like printing the USDE anymore.
That's
like,
exactly right. Here, Canada, you take them.
you can print for a while. We're good.
Yeah.
It's just never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
I mean, that's why you get Bitcoin miners already used and shit, and like the whole dusty and shit inside. You're like, I don't know if these things are worth.
I don't know if I want those things.
2 weeks.
I got like a half pallet of miners once that were like very clearly mined on from China.
They're always my done. They were always my done.
Oh yeah.
You get them after they've almost have no use.
2 weeks.
Well, that was the difference in the companies. Like, you know, the fancy company, they like at least blew them out and made them look nice before they shipped them out to you.
Exactly.
Crypto King has a good point. So I'll ask you guys, is there any chance in hell that you would ever recommend a no coiner to stake on another layer that's not Hex's primary core functional layer?
Crypto's already dangerous with enough pitfalls in it already. There's no need to ever introduce them to this.
I'd much rather them use Staker.
If I was going
the closest thing,
if I was going to introduce them to this, why would it even be Hex? Introduce them into something else.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You can sell your position of any fucking shitcoin you want, and not to call other coins shitcoins, but buy something else you want and turn around and fucking sell it. That's what HexBay enables you. If you want Hex, use Hex for what Hex was designed for.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep.
Out of the 50 people who called me and asked if they should buy Dogecoin, there were 6 people.
Oh my God.
6 people. I really just want the worst for them. And I told them, hey man, the best thing you can buy right now is Doge. Buy the Doge, baby. They're still in there. They're in.
Hey, at least you're honest about it. BitFinesse got that hit list up on his truck, just like, yep, buy Doge, bro. Good luck.
Yeah, they bought it.
God.
Oh man, chat! You guys are lighting it up. Sorry.
Yeah, this is good chat too.
Very
great chat.
excellent chat. So thanks everybody for participating.
Yeah, these guys are great.
So how many more of those big ass 30 million coin buys like that do you think it's going to take to start breaking through some of these metro orders, huh?
Well, we had, what was it, a 13 million?
That got eaten up real quick.
Yeah, and we're almost back to where we were today. I'll look it up and see if I can find it in the meantime. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is on Maddie's conference. I spent like a minute or two talking about that. I think I call it like whale wicks or something like that. It's like no sensible whale is going to come in and just, well, at least in my opinion, until there's an idea of finite supply. And the longer time goes on, supply naturally, I think we all think, gets less and less, goes into the De Beers wallet, and we get a grasp on, you know, what that number really is. Some people have, you know, better, more hard numbers than others, and when I think there will be a day to where be like, holy crap, that green candle's not coming down. But in the meantime, it's like the one, what was it, the other day, Tuesday or Wednesday, to where it was like, you know, we went up to like a penny and 2/10, and I was like, here we go. I think I was talking to Johnny Chaos Hex Fabio on Twitter, and I was just like, it's going to get sold into, just because that's people are just waiting. And the more of these liquid wallets, I have probably 25 of them that I'm keeping track of, and every week a couple keep hitting zero, and they're done selling. And then who's next? And these big wallets, some of them start with like 300 million Hex, they're down to less than 70 million now. Some of these wallets that had 70 million Hex, they're already done selling. So it's these liquid guys, and once we get it out, that's when we fly. But in terms of like, you know, Kirk, to your question, I guess, is like, when's that candle coming? I think we'll get some more of these, you know, nice medium buys. I mean, obviously, like $100,000 is, you know, a nice chunk of money, but those are the buys that we need to get sold into from these liquid wallets that aren't staked, and just get those coins locked away or staked. And man, that's good for all of us here.
I'm really surprised that the levels just don't seem to dip as far as, you know, one might think. I mean, there is a lot of selling going on, and one of the people in crypto I really dislike listening to, a guy I try to avoid, is looking to crypto, because, you know, he says shit he says some shit that really makes me nervous. Like when he talks about accumulation levels and expansions and ratcheting, it's like I'll turn on a podcast. I'm like, I can't listen to this dude. And but I think
so
he's right.
smart. He's smart.
Brilliant.
He's
He
so
is.
smart.
But I think he's right when he talks about, we have these massive accumulation phases, and then these are very fast, very wide expansions, and then when expansion comes, you just never get down to the previous level. There's these floors that exist that just don't get broken. It's wild.
Right.
Well, they say that's one of those things that like in general, when you look at owning Bitcoin, like during bull runs, it's like 10 days a year that make the biggest moves, like these over 20% giant moves.
Yep.
And it's like you either are holding those days or you're fucked. You've been left on the sidelines, So like it's not there's a lot of upwards motion, but like man, when shit starts moving, you want to be holding.
Yep. Well, and that's true with
Is it the
all
V1
markets
chart
too.
there?
Yeah.
And that's true with all markets too. It's the same with the stock market. I mean, you if you're not in for those 10 days, if you're trying to time that market, you're gonna miss those days that it runs up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just Quattro Cinco stake like I'm doing. No, I don't want to give anyone financial advice. But what I am doing is I'm just everything from here on out is all Quattro Cincos.
Yep.
Yeah, my first stake, I really messed up. I didn't yet. I mean, I got into Hex on day 2, and I didn't yet understand why I would stake longer than 10 years, knowing that the bigger pays better.
No one
maxes
did,
out at 10
including
years.
Richard.
Yeah.
No one did.
So, and then the third stake that I made was also 10 years because I front ran a bunch of unstakes, and I'm like, man, that was stupid because. Obviously now I understand why you should hold for 5555. So my average stake is 14.79, and I'm like, oh man,
I mean,
I'm missing some.
Full disclosure, I mean, I didn't entirely know fully, but I did. I staked for 5555 on like day 3, like my whole fucking stack that I fucking that I FOMO'd in, like my whole
Bravo.
like everything that I FOMO'd in on. I was just like, well, like I knew I already fucked up because like on day 3 you already saw how bad off. I was like, damn it, So I was like, well, what else? Like after Richard's like, I told you not to FOMO in, I was like, what else did that guy say? Oh, that's the other thing he said. Stake as long as you can for as much as you can. And I was like, well, I got the time. Here's 15 years. Here's, there's it all.
I'm kind of curious if anyone's on stream is willing to mention what their average staking length is. I'm kind of curious what it'd be. If you are willing to, obviously you don't have to disclose that if you don't want to. But mine's just shy of 11 years, roughly. So I was just kind of curious to see where everyone else is kind of at, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I don't mind. Mine is 8 years because I had set up a staking ladder for monthly and I'd set up multiple staking ladders. But obviously, as far as it's weighted, most of my stakes are out far in the future. But on one of my ladders, I tapered down as it went farther out. I staked less, and I did it heavier. My biggest mistake, in my opinion, is that I had any stakes coming out in 2021. I should have started the earliest stake coming out in 2022, I think, knowing what I know now.
Because I bet you all those stakes that came out, right, you've been throwing those back out there?
Yeah, so anything that's been coming out, I'm throwing them out even bigger.
Yeah, of course.
I'm
More
adding
t-shirts.
to them. Yep, I'm adding to them and throwing them all the way back out Quattro Cinco at the end of my stakes. And obviously, it's not all of them are exactly Quattro Cinco. Some of them are 5552. Some of them are 5551, just depending on when it falls on what day of the month.
Imagine if we had done that from the beginning and all those bonus t-shirts you have, including big payday thrown in there. So an extra 30% on top of that. It's right. Like you continue to learn as you go through Hex, that carrying that stick behavior, you learn as you go. And look at us. We've all learned this good behavior. So we continue to throw it out there. We're growing what's rare in Hex, which is t-shirts. And so we've learned that over the past year and we've learned what we need to do. And so like, looking at it now, it's just like, man, I didn't need the money. Why did I set up those stakes in the first place? I didn't need the money. Most of us have decent paying jobs, well-paying jobs, and most of us on screen right now don't need the money. We should have maximized more RT shares out in the future. But again, it was a learning process. All hexagons went through. Like BitFinesse said, this stuff is complicated. It's new. It's on the cutting edge of what crypto is. It took hexagons a year to learn all this stuff. And just now we're able to intelligently talk about it and disseminate that knowledge to other people coming on board. And it's great, right? Because they get an accelerated course into a beautiful project that we didn't get the luxury of having. We had to make those corrections on the fly. We had to implement tools like the emergency instake that Richard didn't even see as being a tool initially, and recorrect some of our bad behaviors because we didn't realize that we didn't know any other game in town except for the old game of what crypto was. And that shows you how revolutionary Hex is. It's a new game. It changes your absolute mindset of what we all came in with, and it's created a better, more prosperous individual out of all of us, and thus a better community.
Well said, man. Well said.
Yeah.
My
longer we
favorite-
stake, the more you like uphold the system yourself. You know, that's the whole, that's the point of it. If you're never selling anything but interest way further in the future, then you're acting just as much the De Beers vault as anybody else.
Yeah.
My favorite what if is, what if I could go back in time and get 150 million bigger, pays better, stake it out for 10 years, and then emergency end stake it like a dipshit. Man, that would... Oh, somebody did that.
I know who you're.
But could you imagine that?
Dude,
Probably
holding
feels
on to
pretty
that?
bad. So bad, I'd probably make my own copycat that's just doing awful.
Yeah.
It's probably what I would do.
That is dying forever. I just had to look at it today to see. It's
Yeah.
dying forever.
Clear. Yeah.
Yeah. If it could go left instead of right and down, it would.
To what Kinetic said, there is a massive amount of value in having flexibility. I don't have flexibility in my stakes, but maybe you're staking a lot of your money, and maybe you want to have some of your money in 5 years, in the 8 years. So that's why I pinned what I pinned at the top of my Twitter, the second page. It looks complicated, but it's not. I hear a lot of people talking about staking 5555, awesome. Doing a bunch of them, awesome. But if you do it every month, then you've got to pay gas fees every month. I will never complain about gas fees because I know what Hex is. I'll pay 10x gas fees. That'll be fine. But to pay them every month is a bit ridiculous. So once you've got your 5555 stakes set, and you've got a bunch of them, it's painful, but maybe the best way to go is to start with small stakes. Start with a 5-year stake, and then make another 5555 stake, and then a 6-year stake, and then another 5555, and then a 7, and start working your ladder up instead of winding down. Because if you wind down, if you're dollar costing over the next several years, that's kind of what I'm doing. Then eventually you run into a point where your shortest stake is only going to be soaking for a year or two. And we've kind of seen how that worked out. So I don't know, truthfully, if I'm ever going to be able to bite the bullet and make a 5-year stake, and then 6 months later another 5555, and then 6 months later a 6-year stake, so that you have stakes coming out every 2 years. But if you do your longest stakes first, and then your shortest stakes, and then walk those stakes up, eventually your stakes will intersect. And then when you get to your first stake that's end staking in like 5 years, if you don't need it, you can cast it out for 5555, and then you'll have another stake coming out in 2 more years.
Man, I was just thinking, hearing you talk about that, and thinking about a time when I used to cancel stakes that were pending and move them over a day or two, just so my fucking ladder looked pretty on. on Hex Info.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
I'd spend.
It's a little crooked.
I had to get it over just a little bit.
Just in case someone was looking at your wallet address on Hex.
Well, it mattered to me, man. I wanted my shit to look pretty, man. So like, and now I've got a wallet that I staked out like that early on. It's like, that's like a fucking job. I gotta unstake these.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, So Yeah, and there's so many stakes too, like that's just and just the gas fees that we would pay now.
Oh my gosh.
It's a whole different world, It's fucking crazy to think that was like, oh, that's just literally a year ago, doing dumb shit like that.
Shout out to the biggest gentleman of the group, Crypto Vince. Please say something. What a gentleman and a scholar. Holy fucking shit.
It's letting you guys talk because
Amen,
you guys
BitFinesse.
aren't on a lot. Yeah, so yeah. Well, I mean, I just pretty much agree with you guys wholeheartedly with everything you guys have said with the HexBay thing. I think it really kind of I'm pretty sure what's his name, Fabian has good intentions, but obviously as you guys have already said, I don't think that's. I think it's still pretty dangerous. Like and it obviously hasn't gone live yet, but something could it just could break everything that we've like all the community values that we've kind of instilled within the community for all this time, and it would just really suck to see an entity with a huge amount of capital just come in and buy up all the HexBay stakes and just kind of leapfrog everybody that has proper ladders set up. And I think it's, it would just be kind of tragic to see them sort of dilute the payouts that we're getting, the APY. So, yeah, I mean, my default position is just kind of, if Richard's okay with it, then I'm pretty much okay with it. So, I'd rather have devs that are working with him. And kind of like approved by him, do this instead of somebody else coming in and doing it without Richard's okay. So
at the end of the day, Richard whether he likes it or not, he doesn't get a say, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
It is decentralized. Anyone can build on top of it. Like I said, I don't know Fabio or Earl. I think his intentions are good. But at the end of the day, it's what comes with a decentralized product like this. You can build on top of it, and you can't stop anyone from building on top of it. So it just comes down, what is your risk tolerance? What are you comfortable with? What do you stand behind? And it's just like setting up your staking ladder, right? Like cater it to yourself. What is important to you? How do you want to actually grow? How do you want to go about this investment that you've made? How do you want to go about this community? And it really just comes down to personalized to you. If you want to use HexBay, fucking use HexBay. It's just, and at the same time, I think Crypto King mentioned it. It's like, it hasn't even been audited yet. So let it be audited. Go read about it. Go do your things. I know where I'm probably going to stand, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do more research on it this weekend. I finally have the time to dedicate a couple days to it. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go through everything. So am I giving it its just due? Maybe not. But overall, from what I've analyzed, I have a good idea of where I will probably stand by the end of it.
It could be a real silver lining that people are forced to see that the creator of Hex has virtually no say anymore in what goes on. I mean, Hex really is just a smart contract.
What are you talking about? The OA controls everything in Hex. He controls it. He says price go up, price go down, who gets to go in, who gets to go out, what gets built on top of. OA controls everything. I don't know what you're talking about. Have you not listened to crypto Twitter? OA controls everything.
And he's gonna dump on our heads. He's gonna dump on our heads.
God, BitFinesse.
Yeah, because he has already. And that was my appeal to Bitcoin when I was into Bitcoin. Like, this thing seems to just kind of sit there. It's just there. Like, I thought it was kind of cool that no developers were working on it. I didn't realize that people weren't working on it because it couldn't be worked with. But
because there's nothing to do with it.
but perhaps that is a silver lining that people realize that this thing is it just exists. It's out there. It's like a billboard. That I've always thought it would be funny to put a billboard over your neighbor's house that says like, "This guy's an asshole,"
Fuck
and
this
for there to be, and it just can't be taken down for some reason. So Hex is that kind of a thing where it just exists, and people can build on top of it. And if you want to build stuff, and if it sucks, maybe it'll wreck people, and the rest of the people can learn and do better. But yeah, it's just this thing that exists. Hex is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, before I get to Silver there, I wanted to where was Crypto King? Where are you, bro? So he's like, stop talking about encapsulated stakes. All right. Well, I mentioned it because it's newsworthy, and actually I think now is the time to talk about it as opposed to like possibly when it's out. And just, this is, discussing ideas and getting it out there. And then by the time it's out, maybe it's old news. Maybe it's like Big Kirk said, and it's just like, okay, it doesn't take off, whatever. But I mean, it got to talk about at some point. You just can't, ignore it. And then once it's audited, maybe that's another discussion. But I don't know. It's just it's an interesting talking point, and that's why we're all here. And that's why we have so many on the show tonight. So, all right, Silver is going on a chat storm here. Hex, the perpetual passive income machine that OGs will not relinquish like Motley states. Oh, that was number one. He has
he's got a
list of demands. This is further locked with BitFinesse talking about inflation. Sell into what? USD to be depreciated. OGs still hold like 8% of the supply, which is staked long AF for the PG audience. Even if this Hex Bay was to get trades like pointed out, it needs long held stakes with time served, not new stakes. He goes on. There is zero threat for years on this. Plus, what's not known is the risk in the actual contract for vulnerabilities, as core investors are not exactly code.
Yep. Savvy.
Code savvy. And if this is layer 2 out of 3, move even more chance of mistakes, like pointed out. Oh wait, there's a 6. We have a 6. In the meantime, all the trading platforms are being set up for the long and short plays of Hex for any degen that wants a piece. I can't wait for that. Let's get margin trading and everything else in there while we're at it. And for everyone else, stake it and forget it. And I really think that's, what it comes down to for true OG Hexicans. Stake it and forget it. No, Maddie, I cannot read that like Silver. Only Silver.
Yeah, can you be a little bit more articulate? A little weird accent that no one really knows where it's from.
Some dramatic pauses. And
Silver's a ranter.
I want you to read it. I want you to read it like the guy that does the trailers for movies. In a world where everything can blow up. Yeah.
All right, now we have requests from HexMac.
Hey, when we see the super chat, HexMac, we'll believe it that you're willing to pay $15 for it.
I'll be buying those FOMO pants, by the way. HexMac, get your store up and running, sir. Let's go.
Sound pretty dope.
Give it some Indian.
Yeah, definitely some Indian. That's what we all thought. That's how cultured we are.
All right, so what else is going on? I think unless we want to talk about this more, any other points out there that are news items? I got a list, but if anything's top of mind for any of our panel here, shoot.
I have a real quick question. Does anyone think it is a terrible thing to lose a fight if the only reason you wanted to fight the fight is to just punch the guy in the face in the first place? Is that good, or I mean, that's okay, right? If I really want to fight somebody, and I really just there's one person in the world I'd love to punch in the face. And this person might be able to kick my ass, but I'm thinking about challenging somebody to a fight. You can sell tickets or whatever and keep the money, but I'm getting pretty pissed off with Coinbase.
I mean, you accomplished what you set out to do, right? It just depends. Are the consequences worth is the juice
That's a
worth
good
the
point.
squeeze or not?
Yeah.
Yes. The juice.
All right,
The juice is always worth the squeeze, Motley.
Then punch away. Swing for the fences.
Yeah.
Just one more point that I
wait, real quick. If you need me to do good accounting on your stakes, I got you. If you're in jail, just hit me up.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, sorry, Cabana.
No, all good. What was I going to say? So, we were talking about. I've heard it mentioned in the chat a few times so far about how most believe that the party creating this seems to have good intentions, and I think any party wanting to do what they are striving to do would, at least on the surface, have good intentions, because if you're trying to sell something, you're not going to come out and be an asshole or show some bad side of you. So that's part of the game. Sadly, I'm not saying that this is the game or anything like that, but at the same time, it's like you always have to have your guard up. I mean, there's freaking scammers everywhere getting tattoos and all sorts of whack crap, and it's it's part of the game. It's degen crypto, man, and you just always have to encounter every new thing with at least a healthy amount of skepticism, I think, especially in crypto. Whales and myself, more used to or started in traditional markets, but man, this is a different game. So you got to be extra careful here as opposed to some other markets.
Yeah, I hate this. I've heard a lot of people say trust but verify. They'll say that at corporations, trust but verify. No,
I disagree.
It's a military thing too.
It's terrible. Don't trust anybody. Prove it. Whatever you're saying, whatever it is, prove it. Like I didn't trust Richard Hart after watching him for multiple years. He was so upset about Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. I thought, man, is this guy just trolling crypto? Is he going to do something to just try to break all of crypto? I thought it was a possibility. I mean, and I felt like I really knew Richard Hart, but still, anybody who's skeptical of Richard Hart in the beginning because they're playing their cards right, it's like, yeah, of course, it pays to be skeptical, super skeptical, cynical even. A lot of investors say don't be cynical. Be cynical. Let something prove its worth to you before you get involved, because there's just unlimited ways to get wrecked in all of finance.
And it comes at a cost too, right? Like you mentioned it earlier with Hex. Like if you weren't as cynical at first, you would be in a much larger Hex position than you have today. But on the flip side of that, it protects you moving forward, like because you probably have been burned in the past, and so you do approach everything with some skepticism. So at the end of the day, yes, you might have lost on a little bit more returns on you just going full aggro into Hex, but at the same time, that's going to protect you in the future, in your future endeavors and investments.
And on risk management, what risk management really is determining your actions not by how much money you want to make. Because once you make more and more and more money, you'll realize there is no amount of money that is enough for anybody. So risk management really is just determining your actions based on how much money you're willing to lose, not on how much you want to make.
Yeah.
It'll profit you much greater in the long term. If you just think about what can I lose here? When do I know I'm wrong? How much can I lose? That's when I walk away. Be smart about it.
Yep. Very well said.
Well said.
I'd like to tackle that Crypto King question real quick. So if he buys Elon type buys up all the HexBay stakes and the remaining liquid Hex on the market, that's great for all of us who are already in, as far as we're rich, bitch. But at the same time, we're gonna have all kinds of this was created to create new whales, and that's just more whales taking over this new market. And we're not going to have, as he put it in some of the earlier contexts, he said, I'd rather let the new Chloes come in who are new to crypto versus the Elon types. And I think I would like to see a more organic growth and not so much control from one giant whale outside of the OA.
Elon's new to crypto, but I think more of the business traditional finance sense is what we're referring to. But let's be real, Elon's more or less probably new to crypto.
Yeah, I don't know. According to some influencers out there, he may just be Satoshi.
I don't think so. Don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think he's just having a good time
organic
with his Doge memes.
I think he's just a giant troll, and he's having all kinds of fun. Yeah. Hey, he's doing the whole rope-a-dope. Hey, Dogecoin, Bitcoin. Yep.
Got him.
Yep.
Yeah, and you said it, Kinetics. Organic is the word. I'm all for the APY drop, and we all know that's going to happen eventually. But I'd prefer, any good thing, I'd prefer to grow organically. It's like, do you want your home built on a solid foundation? You want it built on tungsten, or do you want it built on a house of sand? So the more organic, people can be, the more organically minded people can be when they get into Hex, the more organic Hex can be. It really is a beautiful thing that, there are people all across the country, all across the world that are, making a few $100 a week, and they're putting some of that in the Hex, and they're staking it long, and they're going to be in such a more prosperous financial situation in 15 years than if they had used any other tool that traditional markets had to offer them. It's glorious.
Yeah. I had an old boss that had he used to say he had all kind of Southern isms that he'd throw at us. But one that he said quite often is, if it grows too fast, it's a weed. Keep an eye on it. If it grows too fast, it's a weed.
Thank you for that important update.
Yeah.
But
it's just like he's saying, it's that organic growth.
Yeah.
It's that organic growth I think is more important. And just one whale hopping in, that's not organic growth. That's not necessarily a good thing for the project. So
yeah.
Well, you say that, but
Accumulation is king.
We did have the Genesis whale.
60 whale.
He's allowed.
I'll allow that one.
Anyone that's that big in Ethereum and has diamond hands like he has, because
Splash around, baby.
Yeah, exactly right. Because he's already shown us that if he's been there since the inception in ETH, and he still has his bag, or at least most of his bag. So those kind of people are good actors to our ecosystem, and I'm okay with that.
Good whales.
I mean, in a dream scenario, said whale and others, do one of those giant candles and let the remaining liquid sell into that. And if there's no more supply, that Hex gets more scarce. And then people do the math and realize that's the no turning back moment. And
I think you're right. It might be that straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I said this last stream, I think. I was like, I wish there was like just a easy aggregate site that had good accounted coins staked, Silver's OA address list and all that. That way took out some of the guesswork, at least with the stuff that we know with good accountants. There's just in one snapshot, a one sheeter. That's how I like to read, get ideas, and present. Just put them to me on one screen, and but maybe we'll see that closer to liftoff time. You never know. And then people get it, light bulb goes off, and if you're in, you're in. If you're not, then you're gonna have to see us up there.
I got my ticket. I got my
ticket.
Saturn rocket ticket. I hope you guys do too. I know Motley does, because he has more shares than me. He's a higher ranked than I am, and I love and I hate him for it all at the same time. So
right, it's just fun competition. Like
Did
it is.
it's really Steph's fault that we're still all buying just because of stupid sea creatures. It's
I was
all
gonna say,
out to.
No, damn it,
I was
Steph.
about to say, did you compare sea creature profiles
Who's got the bigger sea creature?
on stream?
Whoa, easy now.
Well, there's a family show,
Yeah.
or maybe not. But I'd like you to keep your show.
exactly.
Silver, a lot of 34-year-old guys that are 15 years staked and likely to just roll it over. I agree with that.
Yep.
These are the whales that will not give up. In a few years, they'll only have houses, cars, and nothing more to buy. I can totally agree with that.
When we all have that Richard Hart FU money, can you imagine the good we can do for this world?
You and I have talked about this, Kinetics.
Yes, we have.
Plenty of ideas and Animal East and Animal West and Animal Midwest and
Yeah, we got a whole animal sanctuary that's going to happen.
the
You,
Hex
me, and
Animal
Vince.
Planet.
Vince was there for this conversation too. So, Hex
sounds
Animal
awesome.
Planet. Yeah.
I love animals, so I'm about it.
Freddie
Yeah.
quotes as
And maybe a few people too.
Yeah, they're all right. They're all right.
Most of them, right?
Have people to feed them.
Freddie's in chat. Freddie's in chat. How far is up there, Cabana? Well, it's the Star Wars quote with Han Solo, and then he was like, "How much? How much can you imagine?" He was like, "Well, I can imagine quite a lot. I can imagine quite a lot." So I'm just saying. Yeah.
He's looking for some measure of your success there, Cabana.
I would like to end homelessness. How's that?
That's a very noble thing to do.
Freddie says this in a lot of the chats that I see him, and it's just things like these. Like I can see Freddie saying this in his chats. That's what he's passionate about. Kinetics and Vince with animals, and others have other causes that they want to do good for the world. And oh man, just imagine that happening, and imagine the positive feedback loop once that starts. Any way better feeling than any monetary value could have, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like the transference of wealth to a younger generation, and I think it will do a lot of good. A lot of these old, stagnant, traditional finances, this money's been circulating in their hands for a very long time, and look where we're at today. I think it could be better, and I think it will be better in the future. And cryptocurrency is probably going to be that gateway in which the transference occurs, and we're already starting to see it. Probably we're literally at that we're at that cusp of going over the edge of this is where it takes place, and we're all here now. So,
yep.
Hex creates responsible whales. Amen, Tech Dolphin.
Yeah, but I'm going to just want to throw a disclaimer out there. I'm going to do some pretty stupid shit with my FU money when I get it.
That's the FU part of the money.
Myself. Yeah.
Connects is gonna have his animal sanctuary, and then he's gonna be ripping it in his Ferrari and flamethrower.
That's right. I'm gonna be
all kinds
racing
of
my
fun
Ferrari in and out of my lion cages. No,
and you have to build a bar over the animal sanctuary so you can
right.
look down on the lions and everything else. Yeah,
that's right.
Whatever else you want to think of.
There's gonna be some interesting purchases, but there's gonna be a lot of good that comes of it.
But
once that's all bought up.
More good than frivolous purchases, I promise. I can make that promise to you guys. So.
One of my favorite quotes from Richard's live stream with Adam Stokes, which there were so many gems in that thing.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be a good interview.
I love
best interview to date.
Yep.
Best interview to date.
Well, Adam just always comes with such a diverse lineup of questions, which is kind of how I would.
I was going to say, he reminds me a lot of your style, Cabana. He really does.
Approach it but the range of topics were just outstanding, and talking about, monsters in the club, which we can all speak to probably, which was, I have not laughed when I've watched that back, because there's so much truth to that, and every word of that is true. Just saying. But what was I talking? Oh man!
So the
there's another point. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, I don't want you to lose it. Go.
No, I already lost it. Go ahead.
Okay, the biggest thing I was going to speak on that with Adam, and why I think he's a very great interviewer. He's intelligent, and then the final piece that makes his interviews so special with Richard is they get along well, right? Like they mesh. they could be friends in the outside, not just an interviewer and an interviewee. They actually would be friends on the outside. So you really do get to see something special when you watch one of their streams. And I realized that when I rewatched his first stream, I was like, oh, this next stream is going to be amazing, because I saw that compatibility. And then you have two people that are very intelligent. And then the other one that is actually interviewing Richard is also a very talented, skilled interviewer as well. And I think to date, like, you can't argue that there's been a better interview than that one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Target girls at the middle of the bar. Yeah, because the ones at the sides are trying to hook up with the bartender. So just a little insight for you guys.
Yes, thank you, Tech Dolphin. I actually jotted it down as Motley was talking. So one of my favorite quotes in there was when Richard was talking about people thanking him so far for Hex, and he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "I've gotten thank you messages from all sorts of people. People send me pictures of cars and stuff like that." And he casually mentioned, he's like, "That's awesome, bro." But Hex isn't done, and he just casually put it out there. I forget how he said, but he was like, "If you did that now, years down the road, I think Hex is going higher." And imagine. So but I cannot get on anybody for taking gains and cashing out and making peace with parts of their lives. I would certainly hope that you keep stakes longer out and just ladder it. That's the point of a ladder, right? Is to take someone you need it and then push some out. Not only does it do good for you, it does great for the rest of the system, and it just keeps it healthy. Sorry.
Real quick for my entertainment, Cabana, can you put up Brazology's quote again with the Target girls at the middle of the bar? Can you put that up? And then can you put up Maddie Allen's comment right after that, please? Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love it. I love
Good
it.
one, Maddie.
I just wanted to throw up a friendly invite to everybody in the community. I don't know if anybody caught the morning show yesterday, but we actually had Trevon James come on our morning show yesterday morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came on, and he had some. Let's be honest, the guy is a marketer, and he had some great ideas, especially for Hex clips. If you could just take those little snippets that trigger other communities, like Charles Hoskinson is the Steve Jobs of crypto, and he just laughs. He said, if you could just take those little clips and just throw them up, 30-second clips all over YouTube, those are going to get more virality for Hex than the echo chamber that we keep talking to ourselves in. So I think it was a great opportunity.
Guys are way cooler than girls.
I'm gonna clip that, and it's going on the channel, buddy. I'm gonna send it to you to put on your channel.
And that's the thing for adoption, right? Like, this is all great, but like, this is for hexicans. This is for people that are in the community already. Most people are not going to come into a new crypto, a new product, and they're going to listen to a 3-4 hour stream. Like, this is for us. This is for our community. And it's good. That's why like someone like Hex Clips is so beneficial, because they do the work, they put in the time to go in, take out those snippets that do gain virality, or Crypto Coffee that does evergreen content, because at the end of the day, that's the kind of stuff that spreads adoption. You don't necessarily need, I'm not going to delve deep into HexBay again, but you don't necessarily need something like HexBay. It's remembering what you're doing with that content, what you're trying to reach out to. And for the new users, it's not going to be the 6-hour stream. As much as there's good content and funny jokes and everything else in here, no one's that's outside the community is going to sit through this. So Hex Clips, clipping out your own stuff, doing short evergreen content, it really is important with adoption. I know we've talked about it, but it's something we as a community have to work on continuing to improve and get better with.
I agree. Hey, sorry to guys, I gotta bail out. I gotta head out, and I don't want to get thrown in the mix with these greats in the in the trivia.
Good to see you, Kinetics.
I'm not a contender. You guys, I
two belts, baby.
I concede. You guys are the masters of the trivia verse, so I will let you guys go, and we'll catch you guys hopefully later on tonight.
Thank you for stopping by.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
later, bro.
Kinetics. Did we lose Big Kirk?
Wells only until they find my streams. That's true. They are very entertaining, Wells. I will give you that. That is for sure. Get them with that hook early on, and yeah, they're probably glued to their seats.
That's right. BitFinesse, you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm
They're
here.
both- they're both out.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, nothing in the history of man has ever reached its full potential, price discovery wise, in a matter of months and years. Price discovery takes many decades, and apparently with a constant money printing that'll just never be turned off until some end date for us all, I guess. Price discovery just never gets to its, the S curve just never really tops out now that money just gets printed forever. But even in the old days, price discovery takes a long time. It takes many decades for price discovery to really achieve where it's going.
Man,
There
look
needs
at
to
that
be
random line.
There needs to be a lot of price discovery for this random line, but
It'll
even though
get
it
there.
is a meme, so I know everybody jumps in his mentions, but come on now,
It'll get there, and Hex gives you the tools to be successful and be there when it does reach that point, right? Like, because most of us, let's be honest, if we had it all liquid, we would sell way before we ever reach the top of that random line, and we will reach the top of that random line someday. And Hex gives you the tools to be successful and be there with a nice bag of it when it does reach that line. And again, that's why for me personally, HexBay is just not a good fit, because I know myself, and if I had that ability to sell, I am not waiting. What was that price mark? Like above $56? I'm fucking selling before $56 unless there's a trustless code that locks me into my stake and will nuke my stake if I emergency and stake it. I will sell before then. I guarantee it. And again, it's just why Hex is so perfect for me, and that's why I will continue to use Hex the way it was intended to be used.
Friendly reminder that the rollover is about to occur, so if you'd like to see your friendly neighborhood hexologist, he's doing the daily countdown. What's up, Kirk?
Hey,
Sorry,
he's back from his nap.
Sorry. trying to put
morning.
small children to bed.
Looking fresh.
Trying to put small children to bed. They're asleep.
Give him a little hex like plushie or something. That probably help. Practice those strong hands now.
That's going to show up in the store next.
I have a roll of stickers over here
Hex
that the kid that they love to.
Nice.
I've gone through. My daughter has played with many a stickers. In fact, she built a car the other day out of cardboard and toilet paper tubes and couldn't find any tape. And I came home and it's just a conglomerate of hex stickers to like put it all together.
That's awesome.
That's cute.
So what else is going on, gents? Oh, I did have this one thing because somebody brought up Doge earlier. Oh, all right. So let me just get this done. Because
you mean the coin that BitFinesse recommends to his enemies? That coin?
Yeah, exactly. Well, look
I love it.
what this coin is doing now. They're sponsoring NASCAR again. So it's like, come on, man. Like
I think we did this already, like 2 cycles ago.
That's fucking
they did.
awesome. I don't care who you are. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, if they can do that, why can't we?
I hope your enemies are NASCAR fans, BitFinesse.
well, here's
Yeah, I'm sure some of them
point. To Vince's point, there was talk, just fun speculation. I don't think anybody, well, not too many people thought it could be reality about like a Hex Super Bowl ad or something like that. But just seeing this in Dogecoin, if anybody knows NASCAR, there's like 3 different levels. I think this might be like the middle one, and then the lower level is this is the Xfinity series. So the lower level is the NASCAR Truck Series. Well, last week their champion from last year ran around with an unsponsored truck. Truck Series sponsorships are fairly cheap in terms of motorsports compared to NASCAR and Cup and Xfinity. They're the cheaper of the 3. I'm just saying that was the champion of last year. He ran the entire race in second place with screen time on a blank white hood. And the guy is really good. I was just like, man, would that be cool to just have a big old hexagon with hex.com on it, because what happens, these guys do interviews, and if you finish good, you get TV time, you get interview time, you thank your sponsors, you talk about your sponsors, you get educated on your sponsors. I'm not saying NASCAR audience is the Hex audience, but I'm just talking about value to have the champion.
NASCAR! NASCAR!
The champion.
Woo!
The champion of that series on an unsponsored truck. It's terrible.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
It'll be sick.
But
I mean,
anyway, Doge, man, Doge. Oh,
this kind of reminds me of the that old Discourse Syndicate episode where we had Randy the plumber on.
oh yeah.
yes. Turn the hat. All right.
Yeah, I thought that would turn into something more, but unfortunately not.
Where'd BitFinesse go? I lost him on the NASCAR segment.
I mean,
sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
I mean, that was a bummer, but it's all good. He's doing his thing. And I think the NASCAR thing would be cool.
So Guru says we should rebrand the series to Hexfinity. I love it.
There we go. Now I like that. Like to own the whole series.
Now, Cookie Boys. See, I'm telling you, there's like eyeballs out there. I'm not saying it's, they're probably.
Yeah, I was just kidding. I was just having a good time. Love me some NASCAR.
Nice.
I mean, eyeballs on it like that would be great. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of like it has been done by Doge now twice, but I mean, hey, advertisement's advertisement. I mean, there's a reason why everywhere McDonald's goes, Burger King just puts one next door.
Yeah. Getting some compliments on your hexagons there. Hey, Briz, what are you drinking this evening? In fact, what is everybody here drinking this evening?
Tito's. Basic Tito's.
Nice. Very
nice tall glass of water here.
I have
BitFinesse being healthy.
I have the Ron Barrio fine Puerto Rican rum, and then some again back to my almond milk Bailey's and the coconut water. Which
do you know about the history of rum, Kirk?
I do. I feel like
think we have an expert here,
but I do know there's an expert in the room on this subject.
Yeah. Hey, if there's an expert in here,
it was blacklisted. The red coats.
Could you enlighten us on the history of rum real quick? We'd like to be also an educational channel. Americans
drink whiskey because during the Revolutionary War with the redcoats, it was pointed out that rum came from the Caribbean, which was a controlled colony of the Brits. So that is why, in typical Americana, rum is somewhat frowned upon.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Whiskey.
I like rum, and my dad's side of the family's British, so I get it. Thanks for enlightening me, BitFinesse. I was wondering why I liked rum so much, but it makes sense now. That's cool though. I did not know that.
I was thinking is
White Russian. Yeah. White Russians are phenomenal.
I'm always channeling my inner dude.
Mexican drinks for Briz. I don't think I've ever had a White Russian. Is that vodka?
Yeah, in Kahlua.
Well, it's Kahlua and usually, milk or something.
Yeah, milk.
I've never been a vodka person until like a couple years ago. I tried keto, and that was like a
nice liquor for keto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is made out of potato.
There's carbs.
Yeah.
All right, gents. We're getting close to trivia time. We have Vince here.
Double belt champion.
Vincent, 2 belts. Actually, before we get to that, speaking of belts, we have this UFC event tomorrow night that I've been waiting for probably months. So Motley is our resident UFC expert.
Yep.
3 title belts or title matches. Adesanya, who's jumping weight class and actually went over.
Heavyweight.
Yeah. And then I think he was like 200 at 0.5 just to, for good measure. And then Amanda Nunes, who I saw is a minus 1,000 favorite Like,
Oh, I thought she was about to be the underdog for a second. I was like, what?
No.
Yeah.
no, I saw minus 1,000 last night. I was like, oh my gosh, I was
Whoa, that's
wait, but-
crazy.
throwing this other woman to slaughter, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess the Nunez, I'm all about her.
I mean, that's a credit to how amazing Amanda Nunes is. She's literally dominated two female weight classes like no one ever has. Like, she's a monster. There's a reason why her nickname's the Lioness. She's a beast. I would not fight her ever.
What do you think about the Adesanya fight?
I have Adesanya to win it. I like it. There's
Odds are actually fairly close.
well, because I mean, look at Jan or shit. How do you say the Polish names? Blachowicz?
Blachowicz, or I don't know.
Blachowicz. Yeah, we're probably butchering the shit out of
Yeah, awful.
the dude is powerful. The dude is powerful. If he can land, if he can turn it into a brawl like Adesanya and help me out with this. It was a Hispanic guy. He was a boxer that turned it into started with the G. Do you know who I'm talking about? He pretty much gave Adesanya his toughest fight. Fuck. Whatever. Essentially the Polak has to turn it into a brawl. Yeah, I'm not gonna attempt to say his name again. But he's got
Blachowicz.
Blachowicz.
I think it's Jan Blachowicz.
Blachowicz. Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah.
Bloho? What?
No,
Blachowicz.
BitFinesse is right.
Oh,
That was a beautiful pronunciation, and I'm not going to attempt to do it. Like
Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's better than me, and I'm Polish.
Jan?
he needs to turn it into a brawl. Otherwise, Adesanya is going to pick him apart. He's too fast. He's too good at striking. He doesn't. The other guy does not have a ground game, and even though Adesanya is giving up some weight, he's just they're both their strengths are striking, and Adesanya will tear him to pieces. It's going to be up to BitFinesse. Can you throw his name out there real quick?
Jan Blachowicz.
It's up to him to go out there and blitz Adesanya early and fast and try to take him out because he's got dynamite in his hand. So that's his way of winning. If it starts getting to round 2 or 3, Adesanya is going to be faster, fresher, and is going to tear him to shreds. He's going to chop away at his legs.
With the weight though?
He's going to tear him up with the jabs. Who, Adesanya? With
Yeah.
the weight? He's still going to be way, way, way fast. His reaction time, his speed, everything, even with added weight, he'll still be way faster. It's just, can he maintain proper distance the entire time at the beginning of the fight? That's what's going to matter. So it's going to be on my lovely Polak guy that I'm just not going to say his name.
BitFinesse?
Jan Blachowicz.
Thank
Jan
you.
Blachowicz.
I just need like a little cue to like throw it in there to close the distance early and fast, and that's how he wins this fight. Adesanya is a smart technical fighter, though. He knows that's going to be coming in, and the problem with that strategy is you open yourself up to being countered on your way in. So it's can he get in there quick and fast enough, avoid the damage, and put Adesanya's lights out? Essentially, that's his way to win. But other than that, I think Adesanya takes it all day.
Got it.
And it makes a great story for the UFC to sell later because him and John Jones have a beef. This is John Jones' former division, the light heavyweight division that he's dominated for years and pretty much cleaned it out completely. But he's moved on to heavyweight now. He's about to fight Stipe, and so if he ends up winning against Stipe, owns the heavyweight belt, and then Adesanya has his former light heavyweight belt, then I guarantee you UFC is going to be looking at that match. It's just going to be a question of where they go with it. Does Adesanya go up one more weight class and do something that's never been done before and get 3 belts and beat his number one rival, biggest beef, one of the guys that's considered the GOAT of all time, and he just goes automatically up to the third belt and takes it? That would break history. It would be the largest pay-per-view in history. It would blow anything the likes of Conor and freaking, god dang it,
Khabib,
thank you, Khabib. Anything they've done out of the water, it would be probably the most epic fight of all time, and it would be absolutely record-breaking if Adesanya was able to pull that off. It sets up
Come back,
a fight
Khabib.
it sets up a fight that's probably never will be seen again if those pieces fall in line.
And Dana White's all about the marketing, and Adesanya, he's the type of personality. He's like, just give me something else. What's next? And he'd be all in for that, no doubt.
It would be epic. It would be epic.
All right, gents. Well, we're coming to the end of quite the lively discussion for a Hex Happy Hour this week. Vince needs 2 challengers. I have 2 slots open for questions. This set of questions that I have for easy trivia. Who would like to take on Vince? The first slot is open to BitFinesse if you would like it, as you are our guest.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I will let Motley and Big Kirk.
I've already won one, so I've
okay.
I've won 2.
all right.
Nice, sir.
I don't know what that means, but I just thrown it out there.
We'll do a reunion show at the end of the season with all the trivia champions. It'll be a easy trivia Royal Rumble.
It'll just be all of us still, probably. BitFinesse is probably going to win this one, so.
I don't know about that.
All right, so is it Vince, Finesse, and Motley?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll just hang on this one.
All right.
I'll go get.
Wait, we can't throw Big K in too? I thought we were just figuring out the order.
Oh no, he's only got enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say I usually do enough questions for like.
Big K,
3.
put that drink down.
Don't worry, I'll get out fast. Like Big K can still stay. No, just kidding. Oh no.
You might just join me.
As a friend, well, Vince 2 belts over here is the joke off champion and easy trivia champion. So Vincent 2 belts. As you're next to me, you will go first, as always.
Okay.
Reminder to our participants to close
get
get out of the comments, put on our private chat.
It's so boring in here though, compared to chat.
It's just full screened anyway. So.
I know chat's on fire tonight, but only I get to see the answers if our Hexkins want to participate. Are we ready for some easy trivia? We're going to start with a couple crypto rounds, and we'll see if we can get out of these.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Easy trivia.
I only know Hex. It better be Hex related.
Well, we'll let Vince warm it up here.
Damn.
Vince.
Yes.
Vince, who is the founder of Binance?
Yeah.
CZ.
Also accepted Changpeng Zhao.
Yeah.
But yes. CZ. BitFinesse. Who is the founder of Ethereum?
Vitalik Buterin.
Easy trivia. Motley.
Please be Hex.
Who is
Who's the founder of Doge?
I have a feeling I know who you're going to ask, and I don't know, even though it's relevant history. So I'm like, fuck.
Who is the founder of Panda Meme Coin? I kid.
Okay.
No,
It's like what?
I would have gone with Quarter Panda, go with our fellow Hexican, but
all right. Motley, who is the founder of Tron?
What is it? Something fucking sun.
Black Hole.
Warren Buffett.
Black Hole Sun.
I gotta dig in my fucking brain here a second.
I mean, if this is Jeopardy,
Jason Sun.
We'll just take. No. Well, if this is Jeopardy, we'll take the last name.
Okay, Sun.
Very good.
God, what's his first name?
It starts with a J.
What is it though? Justin. I was like, I knew it was like a J something. Yeah, sorry guys.
It's awesome.
Be fearful, because there's another round of easy crypto trivia. Here we go. Vince.
Yes.
Who is the creator / founder of Polkadot?
Oh my God, why? Who cares?
The one I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, right.
Also, I don't mess with that shit. We'll be taken.
Yeah, throw some disclaimers out there real quick.
Ethereum OG.
Ethereum OG.
Got some smart people in chat.
Oh man.
I'm sure they're Hexicans.
I'm just gonna nuke myself and say Craig Stephen Wright.
Gonna be Hosky.
Nuked.
If we keep it this way, we might come into another round.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
The answer is Gavin Wood. Chat,
Wood.
y'all be smart. BitFinesse, who is the founder of Cardano?
That's what I thought you were going to ask me earlier. I was just like, I still can't remember his name.
Charles Hoskinson.
Correct.
Not a founder question. God damn it.
Motley, who is the creator / founder of Litecoin?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Do I have to get the last name? See, I knew the last name on the last one. I know the first name on this one. He's got a
The
stupid
most
little
stereotypical last name
He's got
ever.
he's got a little chicken emoji as his thing, and he's
All right.
Charlie.
Well,
and he's
with
a
all these
bitch,
details,
and-
it's pretty good. So, yeah, Charlie Lee is right.
Charlie Lee. There we go. Okay. Sorry, Vince. I guess that kind of counts.
BitFinesse, you a fan of Star Wars?
No. I know of Star Wars.
right. Well, I have some sets of questions here, so we'll just go.
No.
This is like the worst one. Like I shouldn't even be here right now.
I'm a Reservoir Dogs guy.
Easy trivia. All right, BitFinesse. Which bird is often associated with delivering babies?
Oh,
Stork.
I thought we were doing Star Wars.
Stork. Absolutely.
I almost
All
said Jar Jar Binks.
I was like, wait, what alien bird is in Star Wars for a second? I was like, where are we going with this?
All right, back to Star Wars for Motley. No, just kidding. All right. Motley, what bird is known for showing off its colorful tail?
Peacock.
Very good. All right.
I like animal questions.
No more help now. Olympics.
Ooh, they get harder.
BitFinesse. Michael Phelps is an Olympic athlete known for this sport. What is it?
Maybe not harder.
Smoking weed.
Get him out of here! Get him out!
Nice. Very nice.
That'd be swimming. Michael Phelps. Swimming.
Very good. We're still getting answers for Gavin Wood in chat, so no, that is not a sport. Anyway, perhaps there's a delay for one of you.
I don't think it's that big of a delay. Oh yeah, they just might be behind a little bit.
Brizology's picking up on it.
Yeah. Long ripping.
Motley.
It's because of the lungs, you know. It's because of the. That's why he was good at that.
Killer lung.
Jesse Owens is an Olympic athlete known for this sport, and it doesn't have to be a specific sport. It could be, just the overall category.
I know I heard of the name, and I probably should know this better. I'm assuming it's track and field.
Correct.
Yeah.
Moving on, BitFinesse. This 2003 film follows the story of Mark Zuckerberg and how he founded Facebook. What was the movie called?
I don't know. I'm gonna say Creepy Line because I think that was a much better film. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the film. The Creepy Line.
It wasn't that good. You're not missing out on that much.
It's probably like Friends something. Let's be friends. Or some bullshit.
Not quite. Yeah, Social Network.
Yeah, Social Network.
Whatever.
All right. Well, this is Motley's up for the taking. Let's see if he can do it. Motley for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper star in this 2018 film. What is it called?
I'm trying to think of any movie I know that Lady Gaga even played in.
I didn't know Lady Gaga was an American Sniper. I missed her.
Fuck. What was it? I don't know. 50 First Dates. I don't even know. Pass.
None of those are
like
acceptable.
The
answer is
God, I hate pop culture.
A Star is Born.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? I've never seen that. Fucking Mac
heard of
over
it.
here.
Pretty darn good movie. All right.
Oh,
job,
okay.
man.
Take your word for
BitFinesse and Motley are still in it.
All right.
Vince is still with us.
Love you, Vince.
All right. Kirk is intently watching. All right. Here we go with. Oh boy. Do you know your periodic table? All right.
Not as well as I should.
BitFinesse. What
Unless
is
you ask
the...
me like what the number is, like
No. BitFinesse. What is the symbol for sodium on the periodic table?
NA.
Wow. Nailed it. Motley.
Yep.
What is the symbol for iron on the periodic table?
Everyone's been complaining about them in Hex recently.
Oh. Fuck, what is iron? So it's obviously not I because that's iodine. Or I might still make me ask myself. BitFinesse. Looks like you might be taking this one. You said they've been complaining. This has been complaining about Hex. Huh.
Yeah, all the Hex plebs been complaining about them.
Smart ones in chat.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but maybe I don't know, but the letters don't seem to ring any bells in my head.
Well, neither did sodium, really. So.
Yeah, well, I knew sodium. It's different.
Sodium was one of those you learn in middle school or whatever, and it's like, what do you say when someone offers you more sodium, and you're like, nah, I'm good. Yeah.
I
don't know about iron.
AX. I don't know.
The correct answer.
Bye. Oh, FE. What? Wait, what was that in reference to, BitFinesse? FE.
Fees.
I know someone who
was complaining about the fees.
Oh,
I know
fees.
someone who that's their
I was
name.
like, is everyone complaining about act?
All right. Anyway, welcome.
I know someone who
your new champion.
Yeah,
Damn.
BitFinesse for the interview. Congratulations, my man.
Sweet.
Swooping
Thanks,
in.
Sorry, my camera exit scammed.
Yeah, it's all good. But thank you for participating and congratulations. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans?
I have a joke for you.
Oh man. All right. Hold on.
It's the only joke I know.
Go for it.
Hey, Cabana.
Yes. This is great.
Hey, BitFinesse.
What color is the blood of a middleman?
I don't know what.
Bring me one, and I'll show you.
Jesus.
Cryptic.
That's dark, man. That's dark.
All right.
I think that's hilarious.
I bet you do.
Just like all those suckers you bought. That is so funny.
Well, the stream hasn't been pulled down yet, so
no, we are still
we're
here.
good.
Yeah.
I think that might have gone over the algorithm's head, so we should be okay for a little bit.
Yeah, 2.5 hours in.
Yeah, we're already over, but yeah, just wanted to thank you for helping us end on
for
Chat's loving
joking
it.
us off.
Yes.
Oh man.
All right, gents. Well, this is the point of the show where we do the shills. BitFinesse, how can everybody find you, man?
BitFinesse contact on Twitter, bit_finesse, hex.com, go.hex.com,
Not to be confused with A-Bit. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, go get it. Stake it till you make it, boys.
What were the last couple there? Sorry, I talked over you.
Hex.com, ethhex.com, go.hex.com.
That's how you reach them. Just go to those websites and stake.
I'll see you in 15 years.
We'll see you in 15 years. That's all. Vince, where can we see you?
oh, yep. I'm on Twitter at CryptoVince369.
Motley.
Motley Investor everywhere. That's it.
With Joe Rogan and others outside the octagon tomorrow night on the commentating table.
Yeah, so me and some friends are probably gonna get together, watch that fight. And a fun thing that we did last time, actually, which kind of goes with our one chip challenge that we did. My buddy's got like all the was it Hot Ones show with all the different hot sauces they have.
Yeah.
We actually did that last time on the last UFC fight. It was actually really fun. So maybe I'll do like a little vlog or whatever of that. Might be fun.
Oh, I still want to do that. That sounds awesome.
First of all, the sauces are very good, and they're not that hot. A bunch of those celebrities are pussies. It's not that bad. Maybe I'm a little scarred after the one chip challenge, but those sauces are not that bad. I was pleasantly surprised.
With your like black chip.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm forever scarred on actual spicy food. And it's just like, well, I'll just rate it back to that goddamn chip.
Did we ever find out about Joe Hexotic, if that was real or not?
I'm sure Joe ate the real shit.
I'm just going to assume he did.
Yeah.
All right.
I trust Joe.
The conspiracy.
Yeah, turns out
It's
Joe's
fun.
only been eating pocky chips for the last 10 years or something.
Joe didn't know that they were even like special chips. He just thought he was like getting one chip in a box every day. It's like, oh yeah, this is not bad.
Yeah, I like chips. I like Doritos.
These are great. What are these blue tortilla chips? These are great.
I like a Dorito.
Yeah. Freaking Joe's sitting there with like mace and he's like spraying his bags of chips down, just like, yeah, this is that good stuff.
Yeah, I think I taste some nacho in there.
Oh man,
it was impressive. I was impressed for sure.
Big Kirk, what you got going on, brother?
At Big Kurkowski on Twitter and on Telegram, and Bingo Earth soon to come.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be lots of fun. We'll be giving away Hex. So bingo.earth, I'll have some scheduling and stuff come up real soon here, and I'll be asking each of you to jump aboard. So
I'll be there.
Cool.
Narder's all about the hot sauce, so
yeah, the hot sauce, man. I did a hot sauce challenge too before, and like the last two maybe were hot, but like you go through like 10 sauces that are like good, I could use on food.
I will say, me, Joe, Cookie, a couple other people, we've been talking about making like eating this hot shit like a regular thing. So as much as I'm not looking forward to that, we might be doing something in the future with that, and just do like the absolutely painful, stupid shit to put in your body, just for y'all's entertainment.
Isn't there science? I don't know it, but isn't there science that like there's some chemical reaction in your body or brain that indicates pleasure from eating it? Or
probably if you're a masochist, I guess. If you like pain.
I just thought it triggered. I thought it triggered something because like these connoisseurs, unless you are a masochist. But
yeah, if you're a masochist, you're having a great day. I don't know. I guess
read that somewhere.
I felt pretty good after like the first 5 minutes of excruciating pain. Once you got through the worst of it, it felt pretty damn good to get through that afterwards. But yeah, kind of just intoxicated by the fact that I was no longer dying. So I mean, if you want to call that pleasure, sure.
Yeah.
Get like the forehead sweats and eye sweats and
ears feel like they're about to blow out.
I mean, it's all about perspective, like it was awful. So like not being that awful is pleasure, That's
great. Yeah.
Baka, thank you for attending. We'll see you next happy hour. And All right, boys. Yeah, we'll wrap it up for this week. We'll see everybody next week. Same Hex Happy Hour time. Same Hex Happy Hour channel. Special thanks to BitFinesse for making time to come on with us, and
thank you,
Vince, of course, and Motley for stepping in. Even though Vince, ended up being around because he couldn't sell his GI Joes for Hex, and Big Kurkowski. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, guys.
Later.